Okay, so this is the very first video of this journey of using this book as a book of shadows or a book of wisdom. There's lots of different names for this book, but this is my book of witchery that I am making specifically for the YouTube channel. It's going to not have a lot of my own family traditions in it. I'm going to make this very neutral. Of course, I have another one that is for my personal use, but I thought that this would be a great idea to explore some of the topics that I wasn't sure how to record it, and I can only walk in nature talking about these things so often, or show clouds or rain or whatnot, and I'm not a big fan of just looking into the camera and talking, so I thought this was a really good way to do this. Okay, so we have the book. And for the first video, I am going to set the intention, the dedication, and the protections for this book. Okay, so we're going to do some invisible ink. And let me go ahead and set this up. I have not played with invisible ink since I created my first book, which is, I think I was about 14 years old. So back in, I think, 1991, somewhere around there. It's been a while. And so I thought that I would practice with it before I do that. And I just purchased some new cardstock, which is something that I love using for sigil work, for quick spells, for burning spells. This paper makes me really happy to work with. And I picked this up at Michael's, the Michael's craft store. I'm pretty sure this is available anywhere. It is sold with like invitations for parties, weddings, etc. And this whole stack of 100 runs about $5–6. So it's affordable and you get a whole bunch. This usually lasts me, well, of course, it's going to depend on how much spell work I'm going to be doing in a year. But this usually lasts me for probably 2 years, give or take. It might go faster because I might be using this more often on the channel. Okay, so we have our paper. Of course, I'm only going to need one. And I have my lemon. I decided to use a fresh lemon for this. I always try to use something fresh rather than something processed. That's a personal choice. It's not necessity. So let me pull up one of my safe surfaces. I love using these in all of my witchery, not only for working on for fire safety, but also for any other kind of cuttings I'm going to be doing or anything else. This is just something that I pick up at like a Home Goods, which is a cutting board, cheese boards, anything like that. The marble ones, I think this one I got for like $8. It's really affordable, but I'm sure a lot of people have these like around their house, or you can get them at any thrifting stores, so I love these. Okay, and then I have my ritual knife. So I'm going to take this lemon, and of course I'm going to squeeze it into this little jar here. I have my paintbrush. So let's go ahead and do this. Oh, I should say, before I started this video, I went ahead and did a full blessing of my area. I did a full sweeping, and there's some incense that I charged and some candles that I have surrounding. So set the environment if you're going to be creating your own book, and make it kind of your own ritual of adding information in every single page. So, okay, so, so let's go ahead and cut this lemon. Okay, beautiful lemon. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to squeeze this lemon just to get the juice. I will use the rest of this lemon in some tea tonight, but also for a spell that I saw. So I had just recently found, and I posted the video earlier this week on the Kitchen Witch Oracle, and one of the cards I pulled this morning from it was Citrus Rosemary Cleanse. And so it's something that you use in your bath, using the lemon all over your body. So this other half is going to go into some self-love bath rituals. Of course, not going to share that on YouTube. All right. So I think I have most of the juices out of this. I want to make sure I have enough for the practice. Tastes good. Enough for the practice as well as the page. Okay, so make sure the surface is dry, and let's practice with a brand new paintbrush. And we're going to take just a little bit of lemon. You don't need to actually do anything, just use the lemon juice. So the acid in this is going to have a chemical reaction with the wood fibers of the paper, and that is what causes this to be invisible ink. It isn't visible until you heat the page, or over the years it begins to reveal itself, and it's going to have a browning effect. Okay, so we're going to want to do a sigil, and because this is going to be a basic one for the world to see on the internet, I'm going to use the most standard witch symbol of the pentagram. Okay, so you can kind of see, you can see where I went because of the wetness, and then as it dries, it is going to simply fade away. So this is something that we need to have intention and know what we're doing to see it before it dries on the page. So that happened beautifully. So let's see about writing. Okay, so let's just write. I'm going to do cursive and see how that turns out. I have a feeling it's going to be a little blurry. Yep, the S kind of looks like a smudge. So let's go ahead and just use standard. So S-P-E-L-L-S, spells. So you can kind of see the difference. So the S here splurged, here it's a little more clear. So I'm going to have to write a little bit big, and it's vanishing before our very eyes. Okay, so this looks pretty good. You can still kind of see the star when you move it around. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. And so that's exactly the effect I'm looking to have for the book itself. All right, so this is going to work beautifully. I do want to say, if you want to not use invisible ink, you want to use something that is a little more visible. Some people have written in, so you take some baking soda, and add a little bit of water to it to make kind of a paste right in that. And then some people have used like a rubbing alcohol or like a hand sanitizer with any kind of a natural dye. So like turmeric powder will dye it, cherry juice will dye it. So kind of playing around with natural dyes is another way to do that. But for today, I wanted to use lemon. It's a natural thing that is not going to damage the book or the paper other than where you write. So I don't know if you can see it, but I can still see spell, and I can still see the symbol, and it's exactly the look that I'm going for. So let's go ahead and do this on the book. Okay, so obviously I am not going to write the entire book in lemon juice. That would just be annoying. What I'm looking to do with the lemon juice is just work on the very front cover, where I'm going to put a dedication, write out my magical name, and then put in a sigil of protection. So this book is going to store all of the wisdom information that I am going to be collecting. And the reason that I want to put this kind of dedication on the front page is I want to give respect not only to nature, but also to the growth of information. So this book used to be part of a tree, right? It's paper, it's been It has grown in the sun, with water, with earth, with air, with all of the elements in it. And then we humans have taken that and we have created it into this book. And all of these pages now are going to be a collection of the information that I have learned through my life experience. Things that I've gained from other people, things that I've read about, things that I have through trial and error in my own witchery, things that didn't work, things that did work. All of that stuff is going to go into this book. And so in the honor of respecting not only the wisdom and the life experience that I'm going to be sharing, I'm also honoring the celebration of life through elements and the connection that I have with nature as well as myself, and how that comes full circle with the information that I am putting in this book. So that's the way I see it. Everyone's going to see it their own way. But let's go ahead and do that dedications. So what you're going to want to do is come up with 2 different sigils. So for the top for the dedication, and then in the middle, your magic name, if that's something that, I didn't even think about this. So a magic name is something that either is given to you or is something that you choose, that you use when you are doing your rituals. So it is something that is like a nickname that is particular for you yourself, and nobody else knows it except for the people that you practice witchcraft with. There can be a lot of superstition connected to the power within a name, and so that's where that kind of origin comes from. There's lots of more information, but just like off the hip, that's kind of just to keep it simple. So if you have a magic name, I would add it on this front cover in the lemon juice. If you don't, that could be something that you could add later, if it is something that eventually that you want to go down and explore having that. So there's no right or wrong here. It's whatever makes sense for you, whatever is going to resonate with you, and whatever it is that you want to move forward. And also know that you're not like stuck once it's done. You can always go back and add different things to it, different symbols, different words that might resonate with you on this front cover. That becomes something that is important to your practice, important to you. So you get the idea. Okay, so because this is for YouTube, I'm going to go very simple. My dedication is about growth of witchery, right? And so for me personally, the spiral is what is resonated with me right now to add for that dedication of growth. So I'm going to do that at the very top. So you can see there's that spiral. I'm going to add a little bit more because I want to bring it up. Understanding that flow is coming in and spiraling. So of course I'm not going to share what my magic name is, and so I decided that what I would do is just write on here Vine and Thorn, which is the channel name, and I thought that would be more appropriate for this. So Vine and Thorn, and I should probably add the word witch. All right, so there's the middle. And now on the bottom, for protection, I'm going to use that universal symbol. I'm going to do the pentagram. So we're going to go up, down, over, down, and around. One continuous motion, putting that star in there. Okay, so here if you wanted to add any kind of extra symbols anywhere is where you could do that. Or as I said, like come back and do it later. For right now, I feel that this is adequate. It meets my goals right now. So the beautiful thing about using lemon is, even though it has a chemical reaction with the paper, it isn't actually going to weaken the paper in any way, unless I was to use so much that it obviously saturated the paper. But just what we did here is not going to damage. So my GoPro overheated and shut off, and so I lost a bit of the content on that last clip, but I think it's enough in there that you get the idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and go forward with recording this now that the GoPro has cooled off. The battery's recharged. We're all set to go. Okay, so we just added our lemon, magic, intentions, and dedication and protection. And as you can see, you cannot see it really at all. However, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, it does have a hint of reflection with the light. So I can kind of make it out if I looked really hard for it, but otherwise, it's not really there. Okay, so there's something really fun when you think about this. A lot of magic is dealing with things that are seen and unseen. And so the fact that you know this is here is part of that kind of magic awareness. Okay, so the next page, what I would do is add a dedication about the process of this book. So you can add an envelope, just kind of stick it in here if you wanted to do that. You can write something out. You can put some art in here, something that is meaningful for you, that sets the tone for the rest of the book. I'm going to spend some time writing something out that is from my childhood, given to me by one of my first teachers, someone that wasn't in my family and took me under her wing and taught me her old ways. She was from Ireland, and so I got a lot of connection into some of her practices and such, which was really interesting and beautiful. And so I'm going to add here a letter that she had written to me in part, because it's for online, but it's very beautiful. And so I'm just going to add a section of it. And as I'm writing it, I am going to do an audio over with the part that I am going to be adding here. So let me change the camera a little bit. I might show some snow because we have a snow alert, kind of blizzard going on as I'm writing this. And I might do that with the audio of me reading out what it is that I'm writing. All answers are shared in and of a lived life. Each life is different, and so needs will alter depending that experience. Yet of those who know to hear the wind, feel the fire, pulse with earth, and heal of water, all wisdom begins with the light of the moon. And these will have a knowing within their dreams, within their connection, within their witchery. Know by which light you are born under. Understand your nature. Trust yourself. Embrace who you are. Know the energy you wield. In time, all energy shall pass through you, and by will, by practice, you will become present in who you are. This is the work of witchery. The knowing of a practice, the knowing of focus, the knowing of self. Understand energy. Understand the energy that reaches, the energy that interacts, and the energy that is withheld. Learn balance. In self is the key, and through this is the wisdom that brings clarity to life. Okay, so a lot of poetic understanding and deep contemplation that goes into those words. And that, again, is just part of a letter that was given to me before she passed away. And so I thought it would be appropriate to share it here and to kind of give some of her words out in this video that will live on forever through this channel and through this video. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to do on the next page is add something that is now from my own personal family. So I, by chance, was raised in a family that followed traditions, family traditions. It was never called witchcraft or anything of this. It was called the way, the old ways, grandmother's ways. They had different words to call it. It was never witchcraft, and I actually didn't put the two and two together. I kind of secretly tucked it into my own practice and didn't realize that it's really one and the same. which was kind of a funny moment for me. I was reading a book by Roger Horn, and I started to recognize some things that were very similar to my upbringing, and I had to like really think about it and recognize that I have always tucked these things into my witchcraft, and I thought like I was kind of alone in that, and so I didn't know how to talk about it or share with it, and so this just kind of opened my world, and I thought it was really important to add these great parts of my life that really shaped me in the beginning of this book. So, as to the moon knows, the sun sees. Trust in self to know self true. Was something that both of my grandparents said to me a lot of the time. And I thought it was kind of nice to add it here. Over the next week, I might come in here and add some art. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'll share it in the next video or when I get it done. So now let's add some ribbons as permanent. They're bookmarks in the book. I chose the blue, brown, and green mainly because it's what I think about when I look at this cover. So you want to go to the back of the book. Oh, it has like a pocket. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that was there. So we're going to go to the back of the book, and we're going to glue them down here on the bottom. So I normally would put them over here on the page, but I have a feeling to put them here so it's a little more substantial. So I'm going to put a little bit, oh, it kind of burped. Okay, I'm going to put some tacky glue right on there. And I'm going to take it, and then what I do is I put it in there and I run it up a little bit to cause the glue to drag a little bit. Okay, so there's the green. I'm going to do the blue right beside it. Oops. A little bit of a klutz. So let's add just a tiny bit more glue. For some reason, it burped a lot. It was ready for me. Okay. Try and not make this too messy. I also don't want to glue this close, because that's kind of a cool thing there. Alright, and then using the excess glue, we'll put the brown one right on top. So in my experience, that's all we need to do. And then this card does not want to stand up. And then all we do is then put it on the page, of course, that we're going to be using it to bookmark. So I'm going to let this dry over the next 24 hours. Again, I want to make sure that nothing doesn't close that. So I'm going to put a pencil to keep that lifted and away from the glue so it doesn't accidentally close itself off. Hopefully you were able to see that. I just realized the camera was a bit out of place, but you get the gist. Okay, so here we have the final product, and the ribbons are all dry, and we have our book. I do want to say that I cut the ribbons a little too long. As you can see, they hang quite low. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to trim them, and then I am going to use the other ones as like bookmarks. Something I've seen done is bring them back around again, like double using them. And I'm not sure for me if that is something that would work well. So you see, it would be like I would hold one side and then fold it over to the other side, and then understand those like separations. So it was like I had like 2 recipes throughout the book or something, which may be down the road, but for right now, I don't think that's right for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim these and use the spares, as I said, as bookmarks. Okay, so let me fumble with this and I will do that in a second. Okay, so here we are. The ribbons have been cut. These are the bookmarks that I'm going to be using throughout the book. What I really like is the length of the bookmarks will be able to stick up nicely out of the book. Let me just show you real fast. So I can bring it to the upper part of the page for bookmarks, and then the ribbon hanging at the bottom of the book for markers in the book. Whatever is gonna happen. I can divide it that way by things, the ribbons at the top and the ribbons at the bottom, which I think is going to work out beautifully. Okay, so here is page 1 done. This actually took me 3 days to do, between the editing and the making of, so yeah. So I'm excited to see how this video does with page 1. Hopefully I didn't talk too much. Would you prefer me to talk less and just do more of the focus on the page itself? Or I don't know, that's probably going to depend on the future pages and like what the content of the page is and how much I just kind of talk or whatever. I'm pretty good at becoming a chatterbox, so I can keep talking and talking and talking, of which I'm sure is not always the most entertaining. It's probably boring sometimes. But so here's the final book, and you can kind of see how the ribbons are hanging top and bottom. I'll probably add some charms or something just to give it some more weight so it doesn't just have like ribbons sticking out all over the place. And with use, the ribbons will soften. So, but yeah. Okay, so here is the first video of this playlist, this journey, this sharing on my YouTube channel. Hopefully you've enjoyed it and that you are having a beautiful day or night wherever you are. And as always, happy witching.